Hi, I'm Immigration Attorney John Khosravi, and today I wanted to break down a case study of a case I had with a client recently and how I helped them save their career in the United States and stay here to continue their growth in their profession. Today I want to discuss a complex case that happened that required us to deal with multiple agencies, immigration agencies, both domestic and foreign, to be able to have a client remain here and continue their top profession with their loved ones here. So let me break down the story. It has so many different parts and complications to it, and it really goes to how the help of an immigration attorney could really take things to the next level to reach your goals. So I have a client who is one of the top PhDs, graduate top of their school in the United States. It's a foreign person on an F1 student visa. And once they graduated on their F1 student visa and obtained their PhD in the scientific field, they were awarded a position at one of the top research institutions in the world, frankly. And so this is great. So on an F1 student visa, once you graduate, you can get a program called OPT and stay within the U.S. and work and do practical training for a whole year after graduating, so you have some experience. So in this case, the year was coming to an end. However, there's an extension of the OPT called the STEM extension. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And if you study one of these fields, you could extend your work practical training in the United States for some more time. So this applicant was happy. They knew they did science, so they're just going to continue that at this top institution where they're doing groundbreaking work that's going to both change life in the world with the technology and the things they're learning and producing, as well as the person's career, because it's the only place they could achieve these heights is in the U.S. in this top institution and organization. However, when the time was coming to extend the OPT, they talked with the employer, and the employer said, actually, we can't do STEM OPT. And the reason is this: if you want to get that extension period of time, there's additional immigration regulations, and one of them is this: the company has to subscribe and be part of E-Verify. E-Verify is a system the United States has set up where an employer could check the immigration status and the ability to work of potential employees before hiring them. And to be able to take part in STEM, the company has to take part in E-Verify. But this institution, this huge, well-known organization, did not do that. So all of a sudden, you have 3 months till their career is going to end at that institution. And it's going to be a loss, both in the sense that it's going to stop the work that they're doing midway, and also it looks bad from the institution because they have almost 1,000 candidates of top schools around the world applying, and this one person got chosen, and all of a sudden midway through what they're doing, they're going to stop because they expected to be there for 2 or 3 years based on the STEM extension for OPT. So it was a disaster. Luckily, at the same time, they were in a relationship, and that relationship went to the next level, and they got married. So the foreign applicant, the F1 student, got married with the U.S. citizen. So that usually solves everything because they get married, start the process for the green card, eventually get a work permit in the process, and that's fine. However, there's two major obstacles. One is getting a work permit could take 6-7 months nowadays because things are so backed up. So that will still leave them unemployed and potentially fired from that position at that institution. So that was a scary thing. And secondly, and more importantly, frankly, the applicant used to be a J-1 visa exchange visitor. And so what the J-1 visa is a culture exchange visa where someone from a foreign country could come to the United States, spend time here to learn some stuff, and depending on who funded what they're learning and what the work they were doing and the exact kind of work they're doing, there's something called a 2-year home residency requirement. And that requires you to go back home after getting this visa, spend 2 years in the home country or the last country of residence so you could share that information back home, and then before being able to come back to the United States on an H visa, on an L visa, to change status or even get a green card. So this was an obstacle because they could get a green card, but this J-1 visa 2-year requirement prevented that. So they're about to lose their job. They're married to a U.S. citizen, but they can't get a green card, and so they're stuck. It's a big worry. What do you do? Well, that's where we start working together on how to deal with this. So first and foremost, we have to get a waiver of the J-1 visa requirement. And how we do that is first we contact the home country's embassy and say, please waive this situation and let them move forward. And a lot of embassies are open to that, but the problem with the embassies is that it's not necessarily a priority for many of them, so it takes them a long time. So what we have to do is constantly call them, email them, and keep pushing them to hurry up and approve this. But once they approve it, that's only the first step. They approve it, they have to send the approval to the U.S. State Department, the Department of State, for them to approve it as well. But then that becomes a problem because it takes them a while to send it, and once they do, the Department of State has to process it. So that was another step where we had to do expediting, calling, emailing, requesting, writing letters for the Department of State to do it faster so we get that approval notice from them. After that, the case is sent to USCIS, the Immigration Department, for them to approve it too. However, because we were in a time crunch, I said, we have the Department of State approval, 2 out of 3 approvals we need for the J-1 waiver. The third one will come most likely. Let's start the green card process. We submitted it, got it started, and by that point we only had like a month and a half, 1 month to get the work permit. And so, as I said, it takes 5 or 6 months to get that. So I said, okay, we have to do an expedite request for the work permit. So we filed it, got letters, prepared a package of information so that we could send to the Immigration Department to hurry up and expedite the work permit. And so I made a call to them. It takes 1 or 2 hours to talk with them about it, to get permission to initiate the expedite process with USCIS. Well, after that, a week later, we get a request for evidence to document the need for us for the expedite. Submitted that package to them. Unfortunately, within a day or two of that, they denied that request. So it was devastating because this person was going to lose their career, their research was going to halt, and it was just a horrible situation. But I had to act quick, and I say, you know what, let's contact our local congressperson and get their help. So immediately contacted the congressperson, sent them the information, plus a personal statement saying how hard the situation was going to be for them. About 2 weeks later, we got the approval notice for the work permit, and they were able to save their job. So as you see, there's a lot of different visa categories and issues you have to deal with the foreign embassy, with the Department of State, with USCIS, on expedite levels, on approval levels. There's a J-1 visa issue that many people aren't aware of. There's the F-1 student visa, STEM issues, OPT, Verify, inevitably, filing for adjustment of status and getting that ball to the end. But luckily, we were able to save the job, save the career, save the profession, save the research, because of doing multiple expedite requests and constantly putting pressure so they could move things faster, so this person could achieve their goals in the United States and help our country become the great country that it is and achieve high results for everybody. I hope this information helped. All these are possible. It gets harder and harder, especially under the current administration, but it's a fight, and we have to really take it to them, let them know how important it is when we need something, and we're in the right. We're not doing anything bad. We just want to pursue our dreams and live in America and reach our top potential and help the country with that potential. I hope this information helped. Until next one, have a good one.